You know how it is with me and these things. Hey guys, welcome back to Rule 16. I am your host Javon, and today we're back for a brand new benchmark suite. Today we'll be looking at the glorious, low-powered RX 460. That's right, the 4 gig card, not the 2 gig one. Get that out of here. Finally, I test too many 2 gig cards on this channel. So we thought about the RX 460. It's low-powered king, bro. You know, it only requires 75 watts of power, has a clock speed. I think the boost clock is like 1175 or something like that. Don't quote me on this. And the 7050 with the memory clock. It's actually quite neat for if you want a low powered system. It only uses 75 watts once again, so we're gonna have some fun with it here today and see how it performs in some later known titles. Not all of the latest, but you know, a lot of the latest ones, and we're gonna hope for the best. Realistically, I'm very excited for this one, but don't forget to please leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff if you enjoy seeing me test these GPUs on lower end hardware and seeing how they handle today's hardware. Anyway, we're running today with the Intel Core i3-10105. That's 4 cores and 8 threads. We're running at a clock speed of 4.2 gigahertz. We have 32 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM and dual channel memory, running with a speed of 2667 megahertz. Every game will be run on an SSD today. For the most part, yeah, every game will be run on an SSD today, and we're just gonna see how this manages to handle itself. Anyway, let's jump into the first game. I'm excited. I needed to make myself suffer early on so I know what pain would be like throughout the entire series. And today we're testing Forspoken at 720p low with FSR set to ultra performance. And yeah, well, this is pretty much how I expected it to be. That VRAM is really coming in clutch. I have to say, we are hitting about 30 FPS on average. We do see that in more less intensive areas we will be able to keep over the 30 FPS, but for the most part, Forspoken sucks. I feel like that's kind of the thing with all of these benchmarks. Forspoken just sucks all around. It's hard to run, guys. I'm sorry. Hey, Assassin's Creed Valhalla got added into the benchmark suite once again, and it is performing quite well on a 460. We're running right now at 720p on the low preset if our set to quality. We were seeing over 50 FPS on average running around random places in the game because I've barely ever played Valhalla. So Mirage is probably going to be the same thing. Actually, Mirage might run better. So I'd say that this actually runs quite well. Keep in mind, because I have the 4 gigs of VRAM, you actually could carry up the textures, but for the safety, you know, just to be on the safe side of the video, I decided to put most of the games on the low settings for it. But yeah, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is extremely playable on an RX 460. Like I said, this is a great budget graphics card. You still can play a lot of older titles like before 2020 and whatnot, and it will play quite well.
Are you alright? I'm here too. An eagle will bring ruin to us all. I saw it in a dream.
Resident Evil 4 Remake runs on a variety of hardware quite well actually, so I didn't think I would have any issues with this one either. We are in the 40s for this one, but it is running at 1080p low with FSR set to quality, and that is quite impressive for me. I normally would say that this is a 720p card, but it is capable of doing 1080p in a lot of games, and because of the VRAM, once again, we can keep the textures quite high. I'd say that this one is extremely playable. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is always tough to test on these systems, simply because Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart is extremely demanding, especially in this area here. I always love when we hover over 30 though, but at 720p with the very low preset, with FSR set to ultra performance, we were able to still see that the game is capable of giving us a 30 FPS experience. The core clock is boosting right now to 1212, and we're having fun. The VRAM is completely maxed out though, that's definitely a thing. But other than that, Ratchet and Clank seems to be playable here as well, as long as you like seeing blurry images.
I think I found the wombat!
What is this supposed to be a reenactment of?
You got a sweet bounty on your head, wombat!
Ratchet, I do not believe this is part of the show.
Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales got added back to the benchmark suite for this video, and it was a treat once again. Swinging around the city at 720p low with the medium textures, with FSR set to quality. One of the only ones I actually put the textures to medium on. It actually runs over 50 FPS once again, even when swinging around the city. It's a mostly 40 to 50 FPS experience. This game will run quite well. Once again, 720p is the go-to for a lot of these games, as I said. I don't even think FSR is enough with 1080p. You have to do 720 and then use FSR, but you won't have to use it as heavily at 720p, which is always a plus. Once again, the CPU and G are just cruising, so the GPU is being fully utilized, and well, this is a great experience. Dead Island 2, I feel like runs on anything these days. Whenever I see Dead Island 2, I'm like, Dead Island 2 just runs, man. It just runs. So we don't have any issues here with this one at 1080p low. If FSR set to quality once again, you're seeing we're hitting into the 50s. It is dipping into the 40s though, but it does not go into the 30s at all. This game is quite playable. You don't even, if you wanted a 30 FPS experience, which I don't think you would for Dead Island 2, you probably could just cap it there and not even have to use FSR, but I would probably carry it down to balance to get closer to 60 if you want a smoother experience. Other than that, Dead Island 2 is very playable. I don't even know why I attempted to run Starfield on this, but I did it all the same. Did it go well? No, of course not. What am I thinking? At 720p low with the 50% resolution scaling with FSR, we were seeing barely over 20 FPS in this bloody game. It's insane. Now, this was a bit before. I had this video up before, so updates have come to the game that probably would make it a bit more playable now for this one specifically, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Starfield sucks to begin with. I always thought it was going to suck, and well, yeah, this is just like Forspoken for me. It sucks. When Remnant 2 came out, man, it was demanding as hell. With a lot of updates lately, though, it has been doing a lot better. I've seen. But yeah, 1080p low with FSR set to balance, Remnant 2 is also playable on this GPU. You could have used frame gen, which probably would have helped. But I don't want to actually base my benchmarks on frame generation, because not every game has it. So yeah, but with this settings, it does seem playable. I can't really hate it. Even walking outside, which is very demanding, it still was playable. You probably might have to dip down the FSR a bit more heavily implemented, but other than that, it ran somewhat decently. That frame stutter was crazy. While I ride around on my broom, Hogwarts Legacy has come into the game today to say, hey, we can be playable here too. Hogwarts Legacy is not as demanding as a lot of the titles on here, especially if you're not walking around in buildings. At 1080p low with FSR set to balance, we were seeing over 50 FPS on average once again, and it was playing quite smoothly. There is no stutters with this one. As you can see, the frame time graph is actually quite smooth, all things considered, compared to a lot of the games I'll be testing on here. Man, it can get rough. But yeah, Hogwarts Legacy is extremely playable on an RX 460, the 4 gig version at least. As you can see, we are using 3.4 gigabytes of VRAM. The 4 gigs, like I said, definitely helps with this GPU. And I only paid $25 for it. I win. And finally here on the Benchmark Suite, we have The Last of Us Part 1 as always, because that is definitely the one to test. A 720p low with FSR set to balanced. We were seeing over 40 FPS on average with this one as well. This is quite a demanding area, especially on the CPU, but it did run decently well. I had to save here just to make sure stuff didn't go awry. But other than that, we were having some fun. I had some fun with this one. Once again, this is playable. We didn't have to go full ultra performance to make the game look like absolute crap. At 720, like I said, at 720p, the RX 460 is a decent card. So conclusion is, the RX 460 can run a lot of games still. even to today's standards, it has all the DirectX support to be able to run these games, and with some FSR implementation, even with frame gen, these games are extremely playable here on this system. The RX 460, dude. Once again, I paid $25 for this whole damn thing. I got a really great deal considering nowadays it's like 40 and 50 to get the 2 gig version, which is insane to me. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to please leave a like, comment, share, and I will see you guys next time. What the hell was that?